Thanks for taking the time to watch our film. For 5 years we've tried to get this message to the public. We've been in the press, we've been on national talkback radio, stories about this film have been on prime time national TV in both New Zealand and in Australia, but the story keeps getting covered up. So we decided the only way to get this message out was to take it directly to the public. After the film, you will understand why the story has to be told. And we hope our film will inspire you to join us and help us. So together we can stop the children burning.
The majority of smoke detectors sold today do not detect the type of fire that is most likely to kill you. Tom Clark, investigative journalist from the film Silent Alarms. What you are about to see could save your life. You will learn that the type of smoke detectors you use could make the difference between life or death. After the film, we will ask you to join us and help. Stop the children burning.
For 30 years, the debate has raged as to whether or not ionization alarms really do work. This alarm here is an ionization alarm, and we can tell that because we can see the radiation symbol on the back. What we're going to show you in the next few minutes is a real test with real smoke with a real live working ionization smoke alarm, and you're going to find out the facts for yourself. This soldering iron is actually on. We're going to insert this soldering on. This is just a standard piece of foam from a mattress. We're going to put the soldering on. We're going to bury it into the middle of this foam. We're going to put this into our aquarium. Now, this is going to take a while for the smoke to build up, and I'm going to put the lid on. When you go to bed at night, quite frequently you'll close the house up, you don't have much air movement, and if something starts to smoulder, which could be a cigarette on a couch, but a lot of people don't smoke nowadays, one of the most common causes of fire is an electrical fault. But if an electrical fault does develop and something starts smouldering, that could smoulder for an hour, could even be a couple of hours, before it finally breaks into flame, and at the point of it breaking into flame, that will set your ionization alarm off. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to put this ionization smoke alarm, we can see that it's working. We're going to put it straight into the smoke. You see it's working. We'll put it in here and see what happens. Okay, now there it is right in that smoke. Now I've got my hand behind the aquarium there. I can't see through it. So the smoke is that thick in there that you can hardly see my hand, yet the smoke alarm isn't making a sound. And if we recorded this for the next hour, what would happen is the smoke would get thicker and thicker and the alarm just won't go off. They do not detect smoke. They're not a smoke detector. They don't detect smoke, they never have and they never will. They're a defective device and the damn thing should be banned because your kid could be on that bed. And if your kid's on that bed, they're not going to wake up. So that's why you need the proper type of smoke alarm, which is a photoelectric alarm which actually will detect smoke. These were designed to detect smoke. Ionization alarms were designed to detect poisonous gas. They're not a smoke detector. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you what happens when we put a photoelectric, oh, that smoke is revolting, a photoelectric alarm in there. And we can see, the reason you notice that that photoelectric alarm has got a different sounding horn on it, so you can tell the difference between that and the ionization. And actually that's at the lowest part of the box. And we can see that it's going off, and here we have the ionization alarm which is higher up, which has got more smoke around it, and it's not making a sound. When we first appeared on national TV, we claimed that the ionisation type of smoke alarm, supposedly protecting millions of families around the world, are dangerous. Despite the Foundation's message being branded alarmist, David Isaac from the Fire Protection Association of Australia appeared on the TV program, agreeing that ionisation smoke alarms have known and dangerous performance limitations. David Isaac advises major corporations on fire safety issues. He is not an employee or representative of the Australian Standards Organisation. David is a member of the Australian Standards Committee that formulates the fire detection and warning system standards. David, since we appeared on national TV, I understand you've done extensive research regarding this issue. Why is it that ionisation smoke alarms pass global fire safety standards?
Adrian, I think it would help if I could explain how we measure the performance of smoke detectors and smoke alarms in Australia in order to pass the tests for approval. We use a measure called light obscuration, or percent light obscuration per metre. And what that means is, how much does the smoke obscure visible light when you're looking across a room? Like fog. As fog obscures light and limits your vision, we use a measure of percent obscuration per metre when we're measuring how much smoke is in a room. Now, at 10% obscuration per metre, the average person would be running for the door. You wouldn't be very comfortable in a room at 10% obscuration smoke. 20% obscuration is the maximum allowed to pass a test for approval in Australia. Now, what we discovered as the Australian Standards Committee doing some inquiries into test data, to our horror, was that ionisation smoke alarms are allowed to go to 50 to 60% obscuration per metre. I'll say that again, 50 to 60% obscuration per metre. Dangerously high, totally unacceptable. You can imagine, if you run for the door at 10%, you probably won't find the door at 50 to 60%.
How could this be possible?
In 1976, the US government funded testing of smoke alarms in typical residential applications. And in 1976, they discovered that the ionisation smoke alarm had an inability to detect smoke from typical smouldering fires in residential structures. Fires such as a cigarette dropped on a couch or a mattress, or on the smouldering electrical fault that would occur in a home. The type of smouldering fires that occur at night when residents are asleep. The type of fires that statistically initiate the most fatal fires in residential structures. And for 30 years, this information has been kept from the public. After seeing the aquarium test, in which this ionisation smoke alarm failed to operate, I thought it would be a good idea to demonstrate that this was a fully functioning ionisation alarm.
What's the solution?
I urge people to immediately change the ionisation smoke alarms they have in their home to the photoelectric type. Ionisation smoke alarms are dangerous because they lull people into a false sense of security. But there's a lot more to it. You need all the facts so that you can make an informed decision as to how to properly protect your family from fire.
Help us to spread this message to all your friends and family, to everyone you know, so together we can stop the children burning.